meeting is being recorded. All right. We are going to get started with our Rev Up series. I think this is going to be the last time through Rev Up. We're going to finish it in June. Then we'll do we'll take a break over the summer to do a summer series so you guys know what's coming. And then we'll pick back up again. Probably this is June's way with July, August, September. We'll probably pick back up and finish one last round of it, October, November, December. But I am working on some fun trainings for over the summer, so stay tuned for those. And remember, tomorrow we have Boomer Donnell, who is with, I want to say, Edward Jones. And he's going to be coming and talking with us about setting up yourself for retirement and some other strategies and stuff with financial planning, budgeting, and some different things like that. So it'll be a good, solid training, some new information that we haven't had previously. So that will be in the office as well as it will be on Zoom. So you can join either way. I believe he's bringing food from Pietro's if you join us in person. Not us, because I won't be there in person. And we're going to be testing out our new camera. So if you're there in person, the Zoom people will have the new camera experience. All right, but let's get started with your database is your gold mine. I'm, again, going to beat you guys over the head with your circle of influence and the importance of it over and over and over again until you guys actually start doing the things that you're supposed to be doing with your database to drive business forward. So our objectives today are we're going to talk about why the database is the foundation of your business, the 4 irrefutable laws of managing your database, using the circle of opportunities to build your database, and how to get predictable business from that database. Okay, the database is the core of your successful real estate business, right? And this is in any industry, any business owner, whether you own a tree service, whether you're a restaurant owner, whether you're Ace Hardware, you should have a database of at least your clients, bare minimum clientele, right? That's coming through. That's why there's so many places now that have like the enter your phone number, like the loyalty rewards and stuff, because they're trading you rewards for your information. Okay. Real estate's no different. So having a strong client database not only generates a steady stream of leads, it can also become a sellable asset in the future. Okay. So if you're being business minded, if you have that database and you're working it and you can prove the amount of business that you're getting from that database, then when you decide that you no longer want to be actively selling houses, you can sell your database to another agent. Okay. So just something to think about there. That means that your business doesn't stop when you do. Okay. A well-maintained database should be part of your short, part of your mid, and part of your long-term goals. Okay. So just keep that in mind. And when we say database, I want to make sure that we understand that it's not just past clients that should be in that database. You're going to put anybody that's inside your circle of influence into that database. So people you do business with, your hair person, your masseuse, your people that have done business with you, your neighbors, your family, anybody who's in your phone should go in that database. All your friends on social media probably should go in that database. Like that database should be what's driving our business. So just kind of keep that in mind. We're not limiting ourselves to only past clients. Okay, what can a database deliver? So statistics tell us that a seasoned database of people, okay, those are people that we have connections with. If we connect with them and communicate with them 30 to 40 times a year, those connections are going to be a mix of emails, personal touches, social media, direct mail, that's going to result in consistent, long-term, referral-based business. Okay, once the database is established and properly seasoned, generally speaking, you can continuously expect 70 to 80% of your business to come from repeat and referral customers for the life of your career. Okay, we'll go over more of what that looks like here in a minute. In some cases, 100% of your business might be repeat and referral. How many people would be like, I'd be happy if I never had to go knock on a door again for somebody that I didn't know, right? Kimberly's like me. Okay, so work your database. Okay, the other thing that happens with a database when you're consistently working it is that you can rely on your database to produce revenue consistently year in and year out. Okay, it can take 6 to 12 months of consistent connections to season a contact that's going to produce that referral business. So just kind of keep that in mind. It might take a little while to begin seeing and reaping the results of those that constant contact. And statistics say that for every person in your database, when you are in regular, consistent communication with them, it should yield at a minimum of 12 to 1 return. So for every 12 people in your database, it should equal a transaction. Okay, and that's going to be either in repeat or referral business. Okay, 12 to 1. So if you do the math on your database and you're like, I've got 50 people in my database, then you can expect 4 transactions if you're consistently working. If we get that number closer to like 600, then we have exponential growth in our database, right? 600 divided by 12 should be what, like 50 transactions. I'm just double checking my math. I'm right. All right. 50 transactions, right? So 12 to 1 return. But in order to get that kind of return, we have to systematically connect with the people in our database. Okay, I know if you were on the training last Wednesday evening, we touched on this as well. And we touched on the fact that in your database, you're going to have 2 groups of people. You're going to have those that we are captured, and we have those that are connected. Okay, so when we talk about the 12 to 1 ratio, we're talking about those we're connected with. And you're like, Amy, what's the difference? Well, if they're captured, that's like your open house leads that should also go in your database. We've got their information, we've got their name, we've got their phone number, we've got an email for them, but we're not in regular communication with them. They don't recognize our name. They may not know who we are. If they see our text message come across, they're gonna be like, who the heck is this, right? Like, they're captured. My correlation to that is that they are like a zoo animal. Okay, we've got them in a cage where we can call them, we can interact with them, but that doesn't mean they're going to interact with us. Okay, on the flip side of that, we have connected people in our database. Those are the people who at least know our name, or they might recognize our phone number when it pops up and go, oh yeah, that was that person I was talking to about this, right? So captured, connected. If we want to think of it, right, we had zoo animals, those connected people, those are going to be like your pets. Okay, we had zoo animals and now we have pets. Pets, oftentimes, if we call them, like even my chickens, if I call them, they come running, right? Like they know who I am and they respond just like your dog does, or your cat, although cats are sometimes finicky. We have people in our database like that sometimes they pretend they know us and sometimes they pretend they don't, right? But they're your pets. Oftentimes they're going to recognize you. So we want to make sure that we separate our database out with tags or something so that we can identify those that are captured versus those that are connected, because we're going to interact with them differently. And it's those ones that are connected, that's that 12 to 1 ratio. And sometimes it can even be closer to a 10 to 1 ratio, okay, on those connected people in our database. Okay, if we work 50 open houses and walk away with 10 leads from every open house and put those into our database, and we've got a database of 500 open house leads, but we've never followed up with them, we've never been in contact with them or in connection, then your ratio of closings out of your database is going to be less, because those are just captured leads, not connected leads. Okay, so that being said, we want to make sure to plan your work and work your plan. Okay, you know me, I'm like systems and processes, right? So these are the things that you hear from me all the time. Work your database, systems and processes. Eventually you guys will be like, guess what, Amy? I'm working my database and I have written systems and processes for it. As part of our database plan, we want to make sure that we have in writing what we're going to do this year with our database. How many connections are we going to make? What kind of connections? How often are we going to interact with them? And what's going to be the cost of those connections? Okay, our goal is to stay top of mind with them at all times. So statistics tell us to get that 12-to-1 or a 10-to-1 ratio of deals to connections in our database, we need to interact with those people 30 to 40 times. Okay. And again, that's going to be a combination of those different types of connections. We're going to go over that more here in just a minute, but it's a mix of direct mail, email, text messages, personal calls or visits, and social media. Okay. So an example of what that might look like in your database is you may send out a monthly newsletter via email, or it could be printed, either way. It may actually be more effective in this day and age if you send it in the mail versus email, because people are starting to ignore their emails. So sending something in the mail might be more beneficial. However, then again, our cost is going to go up, right? So how much is the connections going to cost? We need to budget for that and figure that out. You could do it as a monthly newsletter. It doesn't have to be like a traditional like paper newsletter that folds in thirds and goes in an envelope. It could be one of the cards, right? So it could be like a postcard that goes out with like, here's what you should be paying attention to this month, and here's what's going on, or, you know, whatever it might be. So it doesn't have to be a traditional newsletter. It can be via postcard that gets sent out in the mail. But people often get mostly junk mail. If they start seeing your face, I'd put your face on it because these people should know who you are. They start seeing your name and face, and be like, oh, I should pay attention to this, especially if it has something of benefit and value to them. So always look for something that has value. So you want to mail something or email something to them once a month that's some type of newsletter or update. Okay. In addition, I would set them up on something like HomeBot or Real Scout, where you can send them, you can set it and forget it. They get a monthly neighborhood update of what's going on around the neighborhood where they live with regards to the real estate market. Okay, between those two, if we've got a monthly market update and a monthly newsletter going out, that's 24 touches or 24 interactions. In addition to that, you want quarterly personal contact. Amy, what does that mean? It's a phone call. Make a phone call. Pick up the phone, call the people in your database. Okay, check in on them, see how they're doing. You can text them. It's not going to be as effective as a phone call, I promise. The other option too is that you can visit them. Like you could drop off a pop by, knock on their door, say, hey, I just wanted to drop this off. I hope you're doing well. Have a fabulous day. So if you're like, man, I just hate the phone, there's other options. You could do pop bys instead. Again, the phone call is free. Pop by is going to cost you a little bit of money. You can usually keep it like $2 to $3 per door though. So just kind of keep that in mind. So now we've got 28 connections. Then I would make sure that you interact with them like with a birthday card, right? You're going to mail them off a birthday card. In addition to that birthday card, you probably also want to interact with them on social media and wish them a happy birthday on their social media page, as well as either call them or send them a happy birthday text. So just around their birthday, you've got 3 more interactions. Okay, so now we were at 28. Now we're at 31 interactions. And so far, it's very low as far as obligation from you. Very low time consumption, except for those phone calls. Okay, in addition, I would recommend sending out a home anniversary card. Get their home anniversary. Even if you didn't sell them their home, find their home anniversary. You can look it up on title websites. Okay, send them that happy anniversary. And then I would pick 1 or 2 other holidays per year where they're getting some sort of happy holiday in the mail from you. And I will say this again as well, because I say it every time. I'm not a fan of Christmas cards. I'm a fan of Christmas cards for my friends and family. I'm not a fan of business Christmas cards because everybody's getting Christmas cards around the holidays. So set yourself apart. Send them a happy Groundhog Day or happy Labor Day or happy Arbor Day. We just had Earth Day. You could have sent out like happy Earth Day cards, right? So make it unique and different at times that they wouldn't be receiving things from other people so that you're going to stand out to them. Okay, with those 2 additional, now we're up to like 33 contacts. We'll talk about how to even like step that up a little bit here in a minute. but that's going to be over 30 connections annually, which means that your clients are going to see your name and associate with you with real estate 2 to 3 times per month on average. Okay, it's going to be impossible for them to forget that you're there for them, and impossible to forget that you're there for their friends, their family, and their coworkers when there's a real estate need or question. Okay, I would also recommend working in there to connect with your clients on social media. So whether it's Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, Snapchat, TikTok, whatever it is, you're going to increase your opportunity to connect and engage with them throughout the year if you also interact with them on social media. If you use social media properly, then they're also going to follow you and engage with you as well. Any questions so far? All right. I do have the chat window open in case you don't want to unmute yourself. You can throw your questions in the chat box.
How do you go about acquiring your farm's email address, phone number, and any other necessary information without?
Yeah, so when it comes to like a farm, which I think we actually are touching on farm tomorrow evening as well, but when it comes to your farm, you want to offer them items of value in exchange for their information. So whether it's we're hosting an event, a garage sale event, a shred event, whatever that is, something that they're interested in, we're hosting a 4th of July parade, pet parade, and they need to register who's going to participate and what their pet is, right? So give them some sort of QR code or something, someplace where they can go to register. That's a good way to capture their emails and phone numbers there. It could be that you create a Facebook group for your neighborhood, and instead of just giving them the link to the group, you ask them to send you their information, and you will send them the link for the group, something to that effect, right? So we just want to trade that information. We want to offer them value, something that they're going to want in exchange for that information.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, absolutely. All right. So again, plan your work your plan. We want to have our plan written down. So you can be like, oh, that's great. Amy said 4 phone calls, 12 newsletters. Oh, I can do that. Totally cool, right? Well, no, we need to create a roadmap for that success to happen and then follow the steps to achieve it. So if we're like, man, we're going to send out a newsletter every month and it's going to be a postcard. I'm going to send it out through Canva allows you to mail things out. You can also mail things out through One Design or One Creative as well. You can upload your database and send it out through there. There's lots of options that keep it really affordable to mail things out like that. But we need to put it on our calendar when that mailing needs to go out. And if we have on our calendar when the mailing needs to go out, we probably need to put on our calendar when we need to design or when we need to select that so that it's ready to be mailed out on the specific dates, right? If we're going to make phone calls to our database, we need to divide our database up into like 13 weeks worth of phone calls because we're going to call them once a quarter. That's 13 weeks. And decide how we're going to break it up to know who we're going to call on a weekly basis. What days are we going to make phone calls? What hours are we going to make phone calls, right? We need to create that roadmap. If we're going to do pop buys, we should pre-plan all of our pop buys today for the next year so that we have them set up and ready to go. We know when we need to buy the supplies. We know when we need to have them assembled and ready to go by. And we know when we're going to start delivering those and when we're going to finish delivering those, right? So we need to have a plan for that database and what steps we need to achieve it. In addition to having a plan in place is we need to track what we're doing and track our results. Okay, we even talked about this yesterday during the 12-week year training about making sure that you track what you're doing so you can celebrate the wins that you have. And when we get to the end to reevaluate whether you're doing it on a 12-week year or whether you're doing it on an annual basis. When we get to the end, we're like, man, I didn't get what I was thinking this year. I should have from that lead generation method. What did I do or what did I not do? What did I not execute well? What needs to be changed moving forwards? Because you may be like, oh, well, I sent out the newsletters because that was easy. It was kind of automated. I sent out the neighborhood updates because that was totally automated. And I tried to interact with people on social media, but I neglected to make all of my phone calls because now we know that, oh man, we only made out of 2 quarters, we made 150 out of the 500 calls in our database, and I probably should step up my calling game to get the results that I want, right? That's going to give us, number one, a celebration point if we're tracking, and number two, it'll help us to make course adjustments quickly and efficiently. Okay. I know this is a hard one for most real estate agents. We don't like to track things, and it's not because we don't like to. There's just other things that seem to be more important than writing down what we actually did and how many phone calls we made and how many people we talked to and how many doors we knocked. Like, that's not a lot of fun, and we like to have fun. So put it on your calendar at the end of each day to track down what you did. I promise it'll work for you in the end. Okay, it's only going to take you like 10 minutes. It's 10 minutes of pain for a year of glory. All right, the 4 irrefutable laws of your database or working with your circle of influence is you need to continually build it. We need to feed it daily. We need to nurture it, and we need to maintain it. Okay, building your database. There are so many ways in which we can build our database. And if you're like, man, my database only has 55 people in it, Amy, I think that's everybody that I know. Well, the number one thing I'm going to tell you to do is pick up your phone and go into your contacts and look how many contacts you have. Okay, you probably have more than 55, but maybe you don't, but you probably do. And remember, we're not limited to just contacts in our local service area. We can have contacts in our database that we're interacting with on a regular basis to get referrals in other states and other areas. Even if most of your family is in Pennsylvania, you can still be like, hey, when you're ready to buy or sell a home, let me know. I'm going to connect you with the best professional in your area to help you with that process, right? And then we collect referral fees from it. Totally okay. So when we look at this circle here of building our database, that inner circle, that kind of gold circle, that's like past clients, friends, family, right? Those people that already know us, love us, and trust us. Those are the people that we've connected with, that know us, that are probably already referring to us, or probably would if they even knew that was a thing, right? So that's that inner circle. The next light yellow circle, those are the people that we've connected with, but no business yet, right? All these people should be in our database. So people that we know from social media, past coworkers, businesses you use, community and civic events and activities that you're involved in. If you attend a church, medical professionals, neighbors, family activities or family groups, all those things, they already know who we are. We should be adding those people to our database and interacting with them and letting them know that we are in real estate. In addition to that, if you're like, Amy, I've exhausted all of those options. I promise they're all in there and I just know one, or I'm new to the area and I just know no one. Like, my group of friends is the agents at Realty One Group Fox, and that's all I know, right? Then that means we need to go to the outer circle to find more people to feed our database. Okay, and those are going to be people we're not connected with. People that are interacting with your website. Maybe you're running ads on social media. Maybe you're posting on the house groups and stuff, trying to gain clients that way. So online leads. You could join networking groups, okay, or create networking groups to meet people. You can be making cold calls. Be very careful with cold calls of the National Do Not Call Registry. Just saying that and throwing it out there. Make sure you adhere to the rules and laws. Any listings that you have should have signs in the front yard so that people can call you off of sign calls. We could start farming. We could send out direct mail campaigns. We could do online ads. You can join us. We can do open houses, right? You can join us any Wednesday evening at 7 o'clock until the end of June. We are talking about different lead generation options where you can interact with people that you are not connected with presently. Okay. So there's so many options, but we definitely want to be building our database. We need to start with that inner circle and then work our way out until we're starting to get the numbers and the responses that we are looking for. All right. Once we add people to our database, we want to make sure we do it in an organized fashion. If you start out organized, then it makes it so much easier to manage it and keep it clean throughout your real estate career, rather than just throwing a bunch of people in there and saying, oh, I'll get to it one day. You're never going to get to it. I promise. You need to make time to get to it today. So the first thing is we want to categorize our contacts. Okay, so that we can send different messages by groups. Okay, so some things that might work for categorizing our contacts is number one, captured versus connected. You could say zoo animal or pet, right? Zoo or pet. I think it's more fun. I like fun when I look at stuff. So that would probably be what I would do, is label it zoo and pet, but you could label it captured versus connected. Okay, so we know who's interacting with us versus who's not. The people that aren't interacting with us, we'll go over when we add people to our database here in a minute, how to interact with them. But we're only going to have about 19 or so interactions with those people that are captured versus our 30 plus interactions with those people that are connected. Okay, we're going to spend more time with the people that are connected. Okay, in addition to that, you may want to separate out your contacts by source. So you can identify like potential customers versus referral sources. So did they come from your circle of influence? Are they past clients? Are they from your farm? Is it a geographic or a demographic farm? Are they buyer leads? Were they a sign call? Were they social media, right? Where did they come from? Okay, and then we want to make sure that we can group those by like type. Are they a buyer, a seller, an investor? Because then if we're sending out like a monthly newsletter via email that's aimed at buyers, we can pinpoint the buyers in our, or the renters in our database versus those that already own a home that we may want to hit with like home maintenance tips, right? So we may want to be able to separate them out. We may also want to tag them with like A, B, or C, or gold, silver, bronze, or whatever that would be, so that we know those that are getting ready to, there's a couple different ways to do it. One is you can categorize them based on conversations on when you think they're going to transact. If they're going to transact in the next year, they transact in the next 1 to 3 months, the next 3 to 6 months, the next 6 to 9 months, or is it going to be like 9 months or more, right? So we may want to label those like 1, 2, 3, 4, so that you can pull those up easily. We may also want to categorize those by like our number one fan. So like if we went gold, silver, bronze, like gold might be like that inner circle of people that's already doing business with us. They're already sending us referrals. Like that's our inner circle. That's our group. And then we may have our gold people or our silver people that we're working with to get into that group, that we're pretty sure they're going to transact with us or refer people to us. They haven't done it quite yet. And then our bronze, or maybe people that, you know, we're not going to spend as much time, energy, effort on. Okay, in addition to that, you may want to tag those that are business owners in your database, or maybe those that are vendors, like third-party affiliates, like your escrow officers, your lenders, your chimney sweeps, your home inspectors, right? So all those people should be in your database, and we should tag it so that it makes it easy to sort and find the people when you want to. Any questions about that so far? Rule 1. Okay. Rule number 2, feed your database daily, right? So we want to make sure that we're constantly, as I mentioned, adding people to our database, right? So we have a constant influx of people that we might be doing business with. If you want a short 1-minute script of a way to call people, it would be, hello, my name is Amy. From time to time, I run across useful info updates. I'd probably say, hello, my name is Amy with Realty One Group Fox. From time to time, I run across useful updates about the Vacaville real estate market. I'm happy to send them to you. Would email or snail mail work better for you? Notice I didn't say, would you like me to? I just said, hey, I'm happy to send them to you. Would you like them via email or snail mail? Right? I'm getting their contact information rather than offering them yours or mine. And I'm also assuming that they want the information I'm offering. I'm not asking. Okay, so super quick 1-minute script. That might be even something you can utilize, like standing in the grocery store line. We're having a conversation and they're like, oh, you're a realtor. How's that? How's the market? You'd be like, yeah. And actually, like from time to time, I come across useful information to keep you up to date on what's going on in the market. I'd be happy to send that to you. Would email or snail mail work better for you? Oh my gosh, now I just got their name and their address and their email address. Magical. Oh, also, can I get your phone number in case for some reason, like I wrote this down wrong or it gets kicked back or something? Oh yeah, perfect. Here you go. Right now, I've just got a new lead to add to my database because I was at the grocery store having a conversation. Could be like me yesterday. I have a hard time having conversations with strangers in public, but I'm working on it. And yesterday I was in the grocery store and the gentleman behind me, I had boring food that I was checking out with, and he had like milk and pudding, like I don't know, remember how many boxes of pudding and chips, and there was something else that looked yummy. And I don't remember what it was. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna head to your house next, right? And just struck up a conversation like that. I was like, your food looks a lot better than mine, right? So you can have conversations like that and then just bring it in. Like, hey, by the way, I'm a real estate agent. I'm a realtor. And from time to time, I come across really useful information about the local market. I would love to send that to you. Would email or snail mail work better for you? Or you could say, would email or text work better for you? Right? So many options. Okay. If somebody asks for your card, even if you have one in your pocket, a really good excuse is, oh man, I forgot them. They're in the car. Why don't I get your information and I will send you my contact information. I also have like a digital business card. So it's a QR. Hold on. I'll tell you what it is. QR me. I was told about QR me at my last marketing event or networking event that I went to. You open it up, they scan the QR code, it opens up their contacts. So they just scroll the bottom and hit create new contact, and it saves all your information to their phone like magic. Right. And now but then you're not getting their information, just for the record. So it's always better to get their information. So it'd be better to just have your contact card ready to go and be like, perfect, what's your number? I'll text it over to you. And then you text them your contact card. Okay. Rule number 3 is we want to nurture our database. Okay. When nurturing our database, we want to make sure that we communicate along several basic ground rules. Number 1 is we want to deliver a consistent message. Every touch or contact should be consistent and clearly state your message. Like, for example, I'm a real estate agent. I specialize in this and I want to work with you, right? Who do you know looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate? So we want to be consistent. Now, the only caveat to that I'll tell you is if you are not making calls to your database right now and you're adding people in there that you don't have regular communication with, our first interaction with them, on the phone at least, may just be a Ford conversation, a family, occupation, recreation, dreams. I'm so sorry it's been so long since I've touched base with you. How is everything going? And it may just end there. Sometimes and often it naturally, because you're asking them what they do for work, they're like, oh, are you still at so-and-so? Well, no, actually now I'm a realtor, right? So it naturally leads that direction. But if it doesn't, you don't have to push it, because we don't want to seem overwhelmingly salesy in that first conversation. Now, the next conversation in 3 months, absolutely, you need to tie that into it somehow, some way, some form. So be consistent in your message. Be branded. Okay, we talked about this last week, the importance of creating a brand for yourself, of having a consistent look across all of your marketing materials, what's being sent out in the mailbox versus email versus social media should all be consistent. It should use the same types of filters. It should use the same fonts, the same colors, the same photo of yourself, the same logo. It should be very consistent so that somebody that saw you on social media or saw your open house signs, now they're getting something in the mail. They're like, oh yeah, that was that gal at that open house I stopped by, right? So we want it to be branded and consistent. Okay. And number 3, the rules is that personal connections are a must. Okay, phone calls followed by a personal handwritten note are second only to a personal visit. So visit is best. Secondary would be a phone call, and always follow up those interactions with a note of thank you or I enjoyed connecting with you, right? We should have a minimum of 4 personal connections per year with everybody in our database. That's a phone call. That would be a pop by, but not just a pop by, I dropped it on a porch, like a pop by, I knocked on your door to have a conversation with you. We've invited them to an event, something to that effect. Okay, we want to build relationship in a what they call belly to belly fashion. Okay, by using a systematic approach, it allows for your contacts, right, these connections to become automatically seasoned without being overwhelming, because we're not lumping everything into 1 month, we're spreading it out throughout the year. Okay. Nurturing your database. Number one is if you haven't done anything with your database or it's been a while, you may want to start with an introduction or an announcement. Okay, your initial plan to nurture your database should start the seasoning process, right? We don't want to be overwhelmed by creating the tasks, and we don't want them to be overwhelmed by having all 40 interactions in a 2-month period. So you could utilize any or all of these techniques. You could send out an announcement or a welcome letter mailed to your database. We have those in our One Creative Suite or our One Design Suite. They have like, I switched companies, or look, I'm in real estate now, right? Like spin it however you want to. You can just send that out to your database to let everybody know. You can throw that out in the mail. You probably want to also email your database the same information. So the people that overlook the mail, they might see the email, right? They can also save your information that way. We may want to send a personal or handwritten note card to like the top 25 people from our list. Or maybe it's 25 people a week so that we get through our entire database. Maybe instead of including like a welcome letter, we're doing a welcome letter with a handwritten note card. And then we also want to make sure that we follow up with a personal phone call. That's a good introduction to your database. So again, you can utilize one or all of these, but you should do some sort of announcement, follow it up with a phone call. Okay, there's that phone call again. I know there's no avoiding phone calls. I'm sorry. The industry, it's the sales industry. Phone calls are important. Okay. So after we do that, you could do the social media weekly plan, which is the 3 CLP. So it's 3 comments, 3 likes, and 1 post per week. We could do this on our Facebook page, our Facebook business page, our Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, Snapchat, whatever it is. We're going to comment on 3 people's posts per day. We probably want to be strategic on this. Like you probably want to start at the top of your database and work your way through your database and then start repeating. 3 comments daily. 3 likes daily of people who've commented on your posts. Okay. And then we also want to make sure we have 3 posts per week. Okay, and remember when it comes to our social media, on our personal social media pages, we want an 80-20 rule, so 80% personal with 20% business. And so there might be like a week that we don't even post anything business related. It gets posted the next week, right? So if we're only making 3 posts per week. And on our business pages, it should be the flip. It should be 80% business, 20% personal. Okay, any questions about nurturing your database? Rule 3. All right, rule 4, maintain that database. So, right, we want to make time to keep our database up to date. Number 1 is we don't want to be afraid to eliminate people that we don't want to do business with. I probably wouldn't delete them. I would just probably tag them with don't do it or no. That way we know when they call us or when they contact us that that's not somebody we want to do business with again. Okay. In addition, we want to constantly, you could just tag them with D2, which would be the same as like delete. You could tag them just D. And then you know that, well, that we probably should have deleted them, but we didn't want to because we wanted to remember who they are. So we didn't accidentally decide to do business with them again. If somebody's in that database and you have no contact information for them, you just have a phone, nothing else is good. We may want to take them out of our database. That would be the one case where I would take somebody out of my database. I might put them on a spreadsheet though. And then that way later on, I can go through and like stalk them a little bit, see if I can find them on social media, see if I can track down their address, right? So we might like pull them out so that they're not counted, but we may spend some time working to clean those up in the future. Remember, sometimes we operate out of a lack instead of abundance mindset. And a lack mindset is, I don't care how bad that person was to me, some business is better than no business. And I disagree with that. So just know that you have the ability to choose who you do business with, and it's okay to not want to do business with somebody again or to not want to ever talk to somebody again. That's totally your choice and your ability to do that. So we want to constantly not be afraid to eliminate people we don't want to do business with. We want to constantly be working to update our addresses, phone numbers, email addresses, right? So all those things. So we may want to tag the contacts in our database with like no phone, no address, right? No email, so that we know who we're going after that information for. And then that gives us a purpose to call and talk with them and ask them for that information. Remember, people are going to be much more likely to trade that information if you've got something of value for them. So come up with something of value to offer them in exchange for that. And for some people, it may just be like, hey, I send out a monthly newsletter, a monthly like fun recipe. And then we all, make the recipe on the 15th. It's a cool thing. I film it live. I'd like to send that to you on a monthly basis. What's your address, right? Or, hey, I know that even though I didn't sell your home, you own your home, and I'd like to keep you up to date of what's going on in the neighborhood. So I'd like to send you just a monthly market update. It's going to be specific to your neighborhood, what houses are available, what houses are selling for, what's the best email to send that to, right? So we're just filling in that information. And again, it's probably best to not ask, would they like it? It's just best to say, hey, this is what I would like to offer you. What method is best? Or what's the best email address? Or what's the best phone number to call you on? Okay. So we want to constantly be updating that, constantly filling in that missing information. And every time we interact with those people in our database should give us the option to be able to make notes. And we want to update that notes section with what that conversation was about and how it went. That way it makes it so much more easy that the next time we go to call them, we know exactly what it was that we had a conversation about and how to pick up where we left off. All right. This slide might be hard to see depending on what you're looking on, but to systematically connect with our database, 48% of salespeople never follow up with a prospect. Me, I'm that agent. I'm the one that did open houses week in and week out. I usually walked away with one solid lead, but then all the other leads that I got, I put them in a pile and I never did anything with them, right? I never followed up with them. 25% of salespeople make a second contact and stop. 2. 12% of salespeople only make 3 contacts and stop. And only 10% of salespeople make more than 3 contacts. Okay. Now here's how that relates to the actual business. Only 2% of sales are made on the first contact. 3% of sales are made on the second contact. 5% of sales are made on the third contact. 10% on the fourth. 80% of your sales are made on the 5th to the 12th contact. Okay, that's why it's important to make sure the people that we're adding to our database, we have them in a systematic process to interact with them on a regular basis, to get those 5 to 12 interactions as quick as possible, and then continue to interact with those that still aren't interacting with us. Okay. So if you make just one attempt to contact a lead, you've already done more than roughly half of your competition. If you make 2 attempts, 2, not 3, 2 attempts to contact a lead, you've already done more than 75%. If you make 3 attempts to contact a lead, you've done more than 88% of the competition. And if you make more than 3 attempts at contacting, you're in the top 10% of realtors in our area. Okay. So it's not difficult to set yourself apart from the competition, and it's easy to win in real estate if you're willing to work for it. Okay, so you should make a minimum contact. You should make a commitment to yourself to make a bare minimum of 5 attempts to connect with every lead without exception. Okay. Servicing the leads. So as we're adding those new leads to our database, so these aren't the people that we're connected with, these are the people that are captured. We want to put them on what we call an 8x8 campaign. Okay. And this is everybody that gets added to our database that's captured, not connected. They go on an 8x8. Our goal with an 8x8 is to get them to respond. And what that 8x8 is it's 8 attempts to connect over the next 8 weeks. So it's 1 time per week for the first 8 weeks. Okay. In addition to that, just so you know, what I usually recommend is the second we add somebody to our database, like let's say it's an open house lead or a sign call and we didn't get them to answer, I'm going to try to interact with those people 1 time per day for that first week. So I'm going to interact with them. I'm going to attempt to interact with them 5 to 7 times during the first 5 to 7 days of them being in my database. If they're not responding still after that first week, then I'm going to roll them over to this 8x8 and I'm going to reach out to them once per week for the next 8 weeks. Okay. I would recommend, in the past, I've said it should be a mix of emails, phone calls, and text messages. I delete that from your brain. I would get them on so they're getting like the newsletter that you're sending out. Like if you're sending one via email, I would set them, if they were a potential buyer, I would get them on some sort of property search, even if it's a pretty like broad property search. So they're getting dripped on with that stuff via email. These 8 contacts per week, 1 per week for the next 8 weeks, I would have them either be phone calls, text messages, or social media direct messages. Okay, with a call to action of some sort, asking them to respond. Okay, the emails are going to be bonus. Other than that, we should have a mix of phone calls, text messages, and social media. Okay, for those people that we get to the end of the 8 weeks, we're now at probably 9 weeks because we tried the 5x1, right, for the first week, and then we went to an 8x8. Now we're going to go to what we call a 19 plus to connect. So those people that still aren't interacting with us, they're still captured, we're not connected. Our goal is still to get them to respond, but we're going to move them to a minimum of 19 attempts to connect with them per year. And this is where they're going to remain for the rest of their lives until they start interacting with us. We will never take them out of our database unless they like yell at us and tell us that we have to take them out of our database. Otherwise, they're still going to get these 19 connects until we die or sell our database. Okay. What that's going to look like is they're going to get 4 phone calls, 1 per quarter. Okay. I recommend the 3-step approach. We'll go over that here in a minute. 12 emails, 1 per month of something that brings value. It could be like a newsletter. We're going to invite them to an event of some sort is the goal. And we're going to shoot them off 2 things in the mail. It could be your holiday cards. It could be Happy Groundhog's Day and Happy Earth Day. Okay, so whatever that is, 19 times connecting with them on an annual basis. Notice most of these interactions, they're very low impact to your business. They're not going to like suck up a lot of time. The thing that's going to take the most time is those phone calls. Everything else you could really automate and move on with. Okay. Once they start interacting with us, then that means they've become connected to us. Instead of captured, they're now our pet instead of our zoo animal. Then we're going to roll them over to that 30 to 40 connections per year plan that we've got everybody else on our database on that's connected. Okay. Our goal here, it's called a 36 to convert because now we had a 19 to connect. Now that we've connected with them, now they roll to convert. We want to get them to buy, sell, invest, or refer. Okay, and this is a minimum of 30 to 40 interactions annually. The sweet spot's usually at least 36. Okay, 36 to convert would be those 4 phone calls, 24 emails. Remember, we had like a newsletter and then a monthly marketing update would be 24. If we did 1 per month, I would strategically plan those out so that one goes out in the middle of the month and one goes out either at the beginning or the end of the month. And you could do one via email, and you could also send out that newsletter via mail, which might be more impactful in this day and age. 2 event invites, 4 mailed items or pop buys, and 2 cards. Okay. You could do 2 mailed items or pop buys and 4 cards. It really doesn't matter. The mailed items could be cards. Okay, so make it fun, make it something that you want to do, but you're going to put those things on your calendar and plan them out. Okay, when we make those phone calls, we always talk about the Ford sandwich. It's family, occupation, recreation, dreams. We're going to start with Ford. Then we're going to talk about the business portion of our phone call, and then we're going to wrap up with Ford. So we're going to start with talking with them either about family, occupation, recreation, or dreams. Where are they headed on vacation? What are they doing for work? How's the family, right? What's their goal for this next year? We're going to have those conversations and then go, well, the reason I called is I just wanted to see if you knew anybody that was looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate. Who do you know that I can help? And sometimes, again, it's good to do like a memory jogger. Like, who do you know? The reason I'm calling today is I just wanted to know, like, who do you know? Maybe a neighbor, a coworker, somebody that you go to church with. I know you belong to that networking group. Who do you know that might be looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate? Might mention their neighbors. The reason we do that memory jogger is it gets their brain thinking and processing about those people that are their neighbors or their friends or their family or their coworkers. And they're like, oh, yeah, well, actually my coworker, where otherwise they would have been like, no, I can't think of anybody. But now we did a memory jogger. It causes them to start like flipping through that Rolodex of their brain of people they know in those situations. Okay, so you're much more likely to get a referral by using the memory jogger than just skipping it. Then after they're like, oh yeah, well actually so-and-so was, I think was thinking about buying a home. You're like, perfect. Do you have their contact information? I'd love to reach out to them just to offer my assistance, right? And then after we're done with that, we're gonna close up with the family, occupation, recreation, dreams. Oh my gosh, I hope you have so much fun on your vacation next week. Gosh, I really hope things at work settle down for you. If you ever need something, don't hesitate to reach out, right? We're gonna wrap it back up with how we started that phone call. Ford sandwich. Ford's the bread. The meat is business. In addition, I highly recommend using a 3-step approach. I went into this in great detail on the last training last Wednesday. So if you want to catch that on the recording, you can get the actual details for this where I wrote everything out. But the 3-step approach is if I'm supposed to call these people this week, I'm going to pick 3 call days that I have. Monday, I'm going to call. If they don't answer, I'm going to leave a message. Hey, Anastasia, it's Amy. I hope you're having a great day. I'll try you later this week. Okay. Call number 2 happens on like the next day. I'm going to call them again. If they don't answer, instead of leaving a message this time, I'm going to shoot them over a text message. Hey, Anastasia, it's Amy. I was just hoping to touch base. I'll try you later this week, or I'll try you next week, right? Depending on what the days are. Just let them know when you're going to try them again. Then that next day comes around that you're going to be making phone calls. Call number 3. If they still don't answer, I'm going to leave them a message and send them a text that's also similar. It's going to be something like, hey, Anastasia, it's Amy. I was really hoping just to touch base with you this week. I hope you're having a great time. If you ever need anything, real estate related or not, don't hesitate to reach out. I'm always here for you. Right? And then we move on. We are not going to call that person again until the next quarter. Okay, and I find that with the 3-step approach, with just making like one call, if I'm just calling through my database and making one call, like the answer rate's probably like 10 to 15% maybe. Okay, for every 100 phone calls, I'm maybe getting 10 or 15 people to answer. But doing the 3-step approach on those same 100 people, it does take it's a little bit more labor intensive, but my answer rate goes up to like 75 to 80% because I've primed them that I'm calling them back. They know to expect my next phone call. All right. That's all I got for you today. Look I'm right on time. Woo! That's all I got for you today. Does anybody have any questions, thoughts, ahas? How was it?
I put a question in the chat.
Can we offer a referral fee to like somebody in our database that refers somebody to us?
Yeah.
We cannot. No, that would be illegal because if we offered them a referral fee, then the Department of Real Estate is going to take that as we're offering them a part of our commission for a closed transaction. So we're paying a non-licensed individual for licensed activity, but we can offer them a token of appreciation.
Ah. So can we put, like if we're sending out a letter to our farm, can we say, as a token of my appreciation for you referring somebody to me, you can get this. Correct? Is that what? good
Yeah,
way to
you
phrase
should
it?
be able to do that. Yep,
Perfect.
without any problem. Now, whether you can write that off or not, you have to talk to your tax professional about it.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Yep. And I highly recommend rewarding the action and not the end result, or both. But the action of referring people and getting us an actual name and contact number to call, I would reward that, because then they're not waiting for that person to actually like buy or sell a home. We're just rewarding the action of like, hey, send me referrals, you get a $10 gift card. You might give them, again, you might give them something else, a bigger token of appreciation if something closes, or you may offer that like, hey, for every person that you refer, I will, buy their home warranty for them or something to that effect. So if they feel like that whoever they're referring is going to be taken care of as well. So you could do something like that. Or, yeah, Daniel says just give a gift card. Don't say it's for a referral. Yeah. I would just say, thank you so much. I really appreciate you, and send that token of appreciation out. So absolutely. Fabulous. Anything else before we wrap up for today? Tomorrow, again, we have Boomer coming, talking about retirement and future planning. That's in the office and on Zoom, so you can join either way. There's food in the office. Food's always a winner. And then tomorrow evening, I think that we're talking about, I'll tell you for sure, so I'm not making it up. The farm, we're talking about lead gen in your farm. So we'll talk about how to do that effectively. And that's all I've got for you today. I was thinking something else, but now it's gone. We'll be back next week. All right. Have a fabulous day. We will talk with you soon.
Thanks, Amy.
Absolutely.
Thank you.